We're going to move now to adding and subtracting fractions with common denominators. So hopefully you remember that the only way you can add and subtract fractions together is if they have the same bottom number, that same common denominator. So if they do have that common denominator, all you have to do is add the numerators or subtract the numerators together. So they both have a denominator of 10. 7 plus 6 is going to be 13. Last step always with fractions is to simplify. So how many whole times can 10 go into 13 without going over? 1 whole time, 3 left over. Okay. Now where it's going to get a little bit tricky, you might be thinking, this is really simple, but you're going to have to keep in mind your integer rules when you're doing these. So if you have that common denominator of 8, you're going to have to take, you know your denominator is going to be 8, you're going to have to do 5 plus negative 7. 5 plus negative 7 is going to be negative 2. Now you're going to simplify. You can divide both those by 2 to get negative 1/4. Alright? A couple more here. 5 6 plus 4 6. That same 6 denominator, 5 plus 4 is 9. How many whole times can 6 go into 9? Once with 3 left over. I know 3 6 can be simplified further, so it's going to be 1/2. Last one on that first page there. I have a common denominator of 7. On top, I'm doing 4 plus negative 6. 4 plus negative 6 is going to be negative 2. That is in lowest terms already, so I can stop there. Now we're going to deal with some mixed numbers. They have that common denominator already of 8. There's a couple things that you can do here. One way is that we can popcorn it like we did with our multiplication and division. So we're going to do that way first, and then I'll show you the other way, with just adding the whole numbers, then adding the fractions. So let's popcorn that. We're going to get 16, 17, 19 eighths plus 31 eighths. Common denominator is 8. 19 plus 31 is going to be 50. How many whole times can 8 go into 50 without going over? 6 whole times, 2 eighths left over. That's going to be 6 1/4. Okay? So that's one way. You can popcorn it right off the bat with those mixed numbers. If you don't want to do that, like for the next one, we have 3 2/5 plus 8 1/5. You can you can add the whole numbers together first. So 3 plus 8 is 11. 2/5 plus 1/5 is going to be 3/5. You can do it that way. Now, the only thing I want to caution you on is if you're adding the whole numbers, then adding the fractions, that if this would be your fraction would be an improper fraction, you need to simplify that, add the whole number in as well. And we'll do a couple of those here in a bit. Here I have negative 2 3/7 plus negative 4 5/7. So if we remember, our adding rules are different than our multiplying. So if I'm adding two negatives together, its answer is still going to be negative, and I'm just going to add them. So negative 2 plus negative 4 is going to be negative 6. 3/7 plus 5/7 is going to be 8/7. Now here you see what I was just talking about, where you have that improper fraction. You need to simplify 8/7 to be 1 1/7, and it's really a negative because that whole thing's negative. So now I need to combine that, so it's going to be negative 7 1/7. So just don't lose track of all those numbers along the way. If you want to popcorn it right off the bat, that's fine as well. Doing a couple more. 3 tenths minus 9 tenths. Tenths are the same. 3 minus 9, keep in mind the integers, is going to be negative 6. That can be simplified. Divide both those by 2 to get negative 3/5. Okay. Next one there, 7/8 minus 3/8. Eighths is my common denominator. 7 minus 3 is 4. I know that 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2. Now it is your turn to do those 4 problems that are left. Pause the video, get started, then we'll come back together and check that we did it correctly. Let's see how we did. 2 ninths plus negative 4 ninths. Well, ninths are the same. Focus on my integers. 2 plus negative 4 is going to be negative 2. And that's simplified as far down as it can go. Okay. Next one there, 4 twelfths minus 10 twelfths. Twelfths are my common denominator. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. I know 6 twelfths is equal to a half, so my answer is going to be negative 1/2. Number 3 there, we have 3 plus 6 is going to be 9. 3 eighths plus 5 eighths is 8 eighths. Well, 8 eighths is equal to 1 whole, so I'm going to add that 1 whole there, so my answer is going to be 10. Last one, 5 ninths plus negative 7 ninths. Ninths is going to be my common denominator. 5 plus negative 7 is going to be negative 2. Go ahead and begin your practice.